Welcome to Rock and Roll Fridays, a podcast on musical encounters and life. Let's talk Rock and Roll Fridays. Welcome, it's Michael D, and we're going to talk about first concerts. Everyone's got a great first concert. Everyone has a shitty first concert. Everyone has a, oh my god, first concert. I'm going to set the stage. The day is September 29th, 1984. Sounds like a million miles ago. The scene is JFK Stadium in the beautiful city of Philadelphia, PA. And the concert is, drumroll please, my first concert was the Michael Jackson and Jackson 5. Fucking awesome. So, let me tell you the story. Concert was the secondary thing that day. I'm probably like, how old am I? 8? It's 1984. There's no cell phones. There's like 12 channels on TV. There is color television. I'm not that old. But I'm at my grandparents' house in South Philly. My dad is like, we're going to go see a movie. And a movie opened on June 8th, 1984 called, drumroll please, Gremlins. Scary as fuck for an 8-year-old or 10-year-old. It's hard to explain, it's about, it's about a creature that if you put water on it, it multiplies and then kills people, right? That's the gist of it. It spawns other, I think they were called magwas, very 80s movie in the sense of, something stupid is occurring and we're going to make it dumber, but you're going to be scared as fuck. So, my dad, at the time, he's still my dad, he took me to see Gremlins, which was, as any 8 or 10-year-old, at the time I was traumatized in the movie theater from what I was watching. Probably a little scared and a little like, what the hell is this movie about? But ultimately the humans defeated the creatures, and there's always one creature in every movie that's like, hey, I'm not with the other creatures, I'm kind of with you guys, so don't fuck me over, just take me with you. So I think that was like the main magua character. Like, he was pretty much, or she was like the elite one, right? Like, all these other fuckers are gonna fuck you over, but I'm cool, so take me with you. So that was pretty much Gremlins, which was awesome. I mean, if you go to a movie in the 80s, the movies were the greatest thing ever. That was the height of movies. Going to see movies and, the same day Ghostbusters and Gremlins were released. For an 8 to 12-year-old time, age range, that was like the ultimate boner, right? Like, let's go to the movies. Let's see this. Those two movies grossed over $150 million in the United States, which is insane. Gremlins grossed over $12 million the first weekend. Ghostbusters was around $11 million. So it's insane numbers and insane people going to see these movies back in the day. But that wasn't the highlight of my night when I was 8 years old or 10 years old, whatever I was. My dad was cool, and he was like, fuck it. Like, you think that's the highlight? We're going to go do something else. And, I remember coming out of the movie theater or whatever, and, my dad was like, hey, open up the glove compartment, and in the glove compartment was, drum roll please, a white glove. And for all you young millennials and young kids, there's only one person that wore a white glove, and that was Michael Jackson. Everyone knew it. Everyone dressed like him for Halloween. He was everything. So I was like, this is awesome. I have a Michael Jackson glove. I didn't think I was going to go see a concert, but my dad was like, we're going down the JFK Stadium. We're going to try to get into the concert. And looking back, it seems so obvious and easy, right? So we went down there and, we talked to scalpers, whatever. And I think we bought tickets for like $20, which seems crazy. Well, I didn't buy tickets. My dad bought tickets. But ultimately, we were heading into JFK Stadium. I can remember this very easily to this day, because JFK Stadium in Philadelphia is a giant municipality stadium. It's 100,000 people. It's a bowl-shaped, just a massive amount of people. And for Michael Jackson to be in Philadelphia was a huge deal. So I remember walking up the stairs with my dad at my first concert, and it's fucking Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5. Fucking awesome. All the way tippy top at the top of JFK. You're literally overlooking Philadelphia. Michael Jackson is on the stage. It could have been anyone. It could have been the janitor at my high school. We were that far away. At that time, there weren't a lot of big screens like at stadiums, right? It's not like today where you have high def and 5D or 4D. It was literally maybe one screen. I didn't care. Everyone, I remember like it was yesterday, everyone was standing, everyone was dancing, and I remember being like, it's Michael Jackson. And literally, the set list was 17 songs. Wanna Be Starting Something, Off the Wall, Human Nature, Rock With You, Billie Jean, Beat It, right? It's these great songs that these guys are playing, including his brothers, right? Including the whole band. So, it was just cool. I mean, and there's video that years later I look at and I'm like, yeah, I saw Michael Jackson at JFK Stadium in Philadelphia sing these songs. And it's hard to describe, right? When you're like my first concert. And it's funny because I have a lot of friends that are like, oh, my first concert was, Milli Vanilli or, whatever band. And it's like, okay, cool. I saw Michael Jackson. Start the music, right? Start your education in music. Yep, my first concert was Michael Jackson. Okay. You were brought up on doo-wop and oldies and the Beatles. Sounds good. You know what you're talking about. Start from there. So I want to hear, through this podcast and through these communications and conversations about first concerts. Because first concerts are great, right? First concerts are, I've gotten dragged to it. First concerts are like, I don't know what music is, or I don't know what a concert is. I'm getting dragged to it. It's all over the board. Ultimately, I think you gravitate to music, and you gravitate to the scene, and you gravitate to the chaos, and you gravitate to the crowds, or sometimes it's just not for you. I mean, I have friends, I have people that I know that say, I don't like music. I'm like, well, okay, we'll get into that another time. Like, what does that mean, right? But seeing Michael Jackson, knowing that obviously he was one of the most premier artists of all time, and that was my first concert, is pretty cool and fun. And I think, when you look back at your first concert, it probably wasn't about the band, and it probably wasn't about what the songs were or whatever. It was about, how did I get there? How did I end up in the crowd? Who did I go with? How much did I pay for the ticket? Where was it at? Like, those are the fun, more important details, right? Michael Jackson is no longer with us. Jackson 5 is no longer together. JFK Stadium doesn't even exist anymore in Philadelphia. They knocked it down, right? Seeing a concert without screens is not even an experience anymore, right? So, like, those are the key things I think about, because everything at that show was focused on the performers. Everything at that show was focused on hearing this single artist with his brothers and background band playing for a crowd of 100,000 people. And I tend to think about the shows I've been through the years. I don't know if I've been to shows where there's been that many people at a concert, right? It was more festivals and more over a couple day span of artists performing, to see that many people, in one place. Just a side note, JFK Stadium in Philadelphia is also where they hosted Live Aid as well. So from a stadium and global standpoint, how large that stadium was, and to think about someone like Michael Jackson that could fill a stadium of that size. There's not many bands in the 80s or even in the 90s that could fill such large stadiums. Totally awesome, totally cool, totally fun, and always remember my first concert. I want to hear your stories. I want to hear your comments on your first concert. Have a great one. Stay cool. It's Friday, and it's Michael D on Rock and Roll Fridays. Thanks.